Good day, good day, good day.
Oi, 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 oi. Oh, good day. How are you? Good day. Where is Brother Marius?
I don't know where Marius is. Marius should have been here 2 weeks ago, but he's still not here.
Well, you might have to.
I shall send him a message. I shall send him a message. And again, do you know what? I don't know what's going on with this app, right? I've got to log in again and saying I don't have an account. And then I search my previous name and it comes up. Mate, I think I've got 3 different accounts with all different types of login with various bits of content on.
I see.
From pre-existing accounts that I've clearly forgot about.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly. Or like literally like no, nothing, nothing. Clear. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got nothing now.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. Brilliant. What am I doing? You know, I found. Well, for the benefit of the guests, welcome to another session with us truly, the House of Lords. The House of Lords are Dapper
Carl.
Exactly. I'm just looking at the bloody thing.
I know, it's ridiculous. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's the wibbly wobbly world of tech. And like you said before, right, we're no pros. We're just doing what we can. We're doing what we can until we find our feet. Yeah, so you were saying, Iani,
Marius and Carl. And we are the House of Lords. Yeah. We discuss every week. We discuss the many facets of the human consciousness and the human experience from a layman's perspective. That is literally about, there tends to be lots of fun that's had in the process. But basically, here we are. And now our learned colleague Marius, we can't see him yet, but he will be here.
I'm trying to join, he states. So.
Trying. There's no trying. There's only doing.
You either did or you didn't, Mario. Hilarious back. So, shall we wait before Marius comes in to disclose what we shall parlay about today?
Well, just in time.
Speak of the devil.
Oi,
oi, Marius.
Oi.
Oi, Marius, what's going on, bruv?
What's going on, bruv?
What?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm alright. Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's the jokers as per usual.
So, Yanni, you get us started?
Did we what?
Would you get us started?
Would he get us started? We started. I don't know where you been.
Well, we got started, mate. And you popped in just at the end of the.
Did I? That's good. That's great.
Like the bus went. The bus was driving. They were like, you gotta go. Where's your mate?
You didn't say that was the bus, man. I went to the train station. Oh my goodness. Okay,
there's a problem there, man. You see, bus train, mate. You gotta get this right.
It's alien to me, man. It's alien to me.
Oh, look at that cheeky.
Look at that.
Bollocks.
Look at that.
Cheeky bollocks.
Okay. So Marius is just did a shameless plug on what we're discussing today. So if you like yourself a bit of alien talk, then hang around. If you don't, I suggest you hang around nevertheless, because you may learn something or you may have something else to shun. You never know.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So where do we go from here then? I mean, what diving board are we going to jump on?
Well, we could start with Captain
All right,
James.
let's just ask.
Captain
we ask each
James.
other first.
Go on then, you ask. Go on then, ask me.
All
You
right,
ask me.
hey Yanni, do you believe in
Yeah.
aliens?
Do I believe in them?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't believe
Like, do you
in
think
them.
do you like they can achieve things?
I think they can achieve things. Yeah, I think they can manage it. Yeah, I don't believe in them at all. I think they can't achieve fuck all, mate. I mean, no. I mean, no.
Bunch of wasters.
Bunch of wasters, mate. Bunch of duffers, mate. Bunch of duffers, man. No. I believe that there is. Well, I'm not say believe because that's not really the best thing for me to say. I know. Being bold here, ladies and
Very,
gentlemen.
very strong stance by Yanni straight off the back.
Yeah, mate.
Love that.
I know.
I'm looking forward to see where this is going because he's taking a stand. So
Yanni knows there's aliens, right?
Well, and I wouldn't even say this.
Marius,
Marius,
do you?
do I?
Yeah.
Do I believe?
Let's not get pedantic and caught up on the words just before we get started.
No,
you know
fair
what
point,
we're trying to
fair
say. You know what we're trying to say.
Fair point. Well, do I believe? I do believe there's something out there. Now, are they aliens or are they other entities?
Sound like Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
All of a sudden, man, when I think about Captain Kirk, I get that green alien scene, you know, the music.
Yeah, go on, Captain Kirk. Get in there.
Bones,
Green,
it's
what you mean?
Stardate 772. I stumbled upon a planet with a rather peculiar race of individuals. The women are stunningly beautiful, but green. I think I'll make love to one. He does it, doesn't he?
I have made one. I have made love to one.
Yeah.
It
Right,
was
so-
incredible.
Well, the question is, am I an alien?
No, wait, hang on.
That was
Question
the
is-
question, though, was it?
question's
The question,
Carl.
do you
Carl.
believe in aliens?
Do you?
Do you, Marius, believe
In the existence?
of extraterrestrial life?
It's a possibility.
Okay. Carl.
So we've got an affirmative yes and a possibility.
Carl.
Yeah, yes, he are.
So let me ask you this question. I've got a burning question to ask you. The question is, do you believe or do you think that there is other life besides us scratching around here on planet Earth?
I think yes, but in answer to your question, do I know there's alien life or do I think there's alien life? Absolutely, unashamedly, yes, for I exist. Welcome to the House of Lords air conditioning system in the background. If you need the humidifiers in your property, don't forget to get in touch with the House of Lords. We can get that steam and the smell permeating throughout your abode.
That's a good one. That was a good
Love
one.
it. Love it.
That was a good one.
Love it.
What mark are we promoting?
Love it. Great.
We've got 2 yeses and 1 maybe.
Yeah, that maybe's a bit soft though, isn't it? It'd probably be a yes.
It
in
is,
it.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's see what happens.
It's not a maybe, it's a possibility. Not a maybe.
Oh, possibility.
A possibility.
So he's being very careful. He's being very open-minded. He's not been making an absolute by saying yes or no.
Because I haven't got the substantial evidence for me to prove it. So,
No?
What do you
me
feel?
personally, no.
What do you feel personally? Do you feel personally? Forget the evidence. Do you personally feel that it is just us on this blue marble, right, floating through time and space, or do you seek and do you think that it's not just us floating through time and space on this blue marble.
But you see, okay, that can go different ways now.
It can. Let's see. Can indeed.
The one thing that I can bring to the equation, well, is there a possibility that this is a holographic experience? And if that's the case, how many entities can actually be there through this holographic experience?
Well, what are you defining an entity?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And then once you've done that, then explain or then go into a deeper definition for the holographic experience.
Hold on a second. The thing is, you guys are asking me questions, which I said the possibility because I haven't got the facts, instead of me asking you guys because you had a strong yes.
Well, yeah, so we want to, you saying there's not enough evidence, but then you...
Well, I haven't got it personally, so I cannot
Yeah, I know,
take
but then you went on to state that, you know, there's other entities, right? Now, I'm trying to ascertain, so what are you classing another entity?
Right.
If not,
Human
if not
beings
a human, if it's not a human being, then what is it?
Well, if it's not a human, but what it is, anything can be. Anything that the mind can create can be.
Okay.
I don't disagree with you, but you're being incredibly vague.
Okay.
Well, I'm being vague because I am not sure. So how can I give you a straight answer when I cannot?
All right, so there is language out there that differentiate
between
from human beings, right? From human beings, living, walking, flesh and blood, bipedal hominids, right?
Right.
With a particular genome, right? Which is us, classed as the living species, as man and living women on Earth, right? Now, there is dialect, other things outside of that categorization. Now, are you suggesting that the things outside of that categorization are human beings?
You say are or aren't?
Are or aren't? I'm trying to ascertain kind of what your stance is before we continue talking.
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, is there a possibility? Yes. Now the thing is, what you guys don't seem to accept is the fact that I have nothing clear for me to back it up. Am I considering that there may be either forms of life, entities out there? Yes, I cannot deny it. Just because I haven't met or I haven't seen, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Okay.
But I have no proof in order to take it any further. And this is where the question comes back to you guys with an affirmative yes. How did you come to that conclusion? Did you come into any encounter, or how did you go for it?
Right,
Okay.
all right. I can answer that, but before I do, if I may. Right? So, have you ever met an Eskimo?
No.
But would you say Eskimos exist?
Would I say Eskimo exists? No, I wouldn't say Eskimo exists. I would say
so you're denying a race of
across
people that do exist on Earth,
Carl,
right?
wait,
Because you've
wait
never
for
met them,
what?
you're saying they don't exist.
Carl.
No,
my
no,
full
Carl,
response.
no. If the response is null and void from out the gate, then there's got to be an objection. There has to be.
Well, if you come halfway through and stop me from finishing my sentence, then obviously whatever I say is not going to make no sense. So what I'm saying is, I haven't seen it. Is there information that suggests that? Yes. Does that mean that it exists? Yes. But also, does it mean that it doesn't exist? Yes. Is it there information that I came across? True. Who put it out there? I have no clue if I can trust that information.
Okay. So I've
met
an Inuit, right? I've met an Inuit. I've seen
Okay.
it, right? I've met one, so I know they exist.
Good.
But yeah, me telling you that I've met this classification of human, right? You're still what? Speculative because you've never met one.
Well, isn't that the difference between believing and knowing?
Well, okay. Okay, so I mean, again, I'm not trying to change your opinion here. You know,
No, we don't. We just
we're having a
exploring.
discussion. Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, my experience, my life experience has given me, from the physical observation, like on ground level type scenario, I've had where I can say, I would say three where I'm actually, two where I'm actually standing right there, as close as, you know, less than a foot away, less than that, you know, like 8 inches away, 10 inches away, something like that. Two like that, and one where it was like they were in the car in the next lane. They were in the car in the next lane, and their actions were the things that highlighted not just myself, but somebody else who's never even seen that type of stuff. But then they also they freaked out, and I said, "Yeah, don't crash the car, love. Just keep driving. Don't crash the car. You know, we'll be all right." She goes, "But you saw that though, didn't you? You saw that. You saw that. Yes, I saw it." So yeah, there are various. I've had various personal experiences that led me to believe, they're definitely not from round here.
And when you say round here, honey, what are you referring to?
What I'm referring to is,
I'm not trying to be a dick.
no, I know. It was around here. They're not from round here, meaning they're not from Earth, you know. Or if they are, we've not been told about yet.
Okay.
Right? But the experience, and what's interesting is that the experience was innately unhuman. Not in when I say unhuman, that doesn't mean to say it's some barbaric measure or anything like that. What I'm saying is that from the amount of information that I have received in my ears and eyes, with regards to human behavior, the vibrations I felt next to another, you know, with the amount of information I've had thus up until those points, I'd never had that type of interaction before, or the interaction that I would have said 100% of the time in that part of the world that should happen, it didn't happen. And I'm like, yeah, it didn't happen. Something where I was 100% sure, I would have bet money and said, I bet you if I'd have said to somebody, if I go up to that car, right, I bet you'd turn around and say something to me if I go up to that car. If I'd have bet, I would have bet money on that and said, yeah, here's $100, here's $1,000, let's do it. Their window's open. As I approach the car, they're bound to say something to me, because look at me, I'm 6'3", dark skin, my locks are coming down, I've got dark biker glasses on. Somebody's going to ask me a question. But when that doesn't happen, you're not even in that moment. You're elsewhere. You're already realizing, you're somewhere else. So, yeah, there's some intriguing stuff. There is some intriguing stuff that I will say. I've had some experiences where I'm like, wow, I'm the only one here. Like where I thought I was taken into a realm. I was just about to DJ at a party. I was taken into, and then a person that I know, a friend of mine, through my friend, and you hear what I'm saying? Through my friend, I get this message that I'm supposed to not do that and follow them. But we'll go into that in a bit. But yeah, I didn't want to go on there. Just go for it, gentlemen. Go for it. We'll go into that in a bit.
See hear the UFOs in the background there. Look, UFOs in the background.
That's right.
Yeah, as we're getting down. So what you want to ask me as well, Marius? You know.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, I exist as my opener. I am the evidence that extraterrestrials exist.
Okay. Smart, sir. Hey, why is he getting to be like that and just answer them types of smart answers, right? And then we got to do all the others. What, sir? Disruptive. I'm going to come out the class. I'm going to tell my mum. I am.
It's as simple as that. Really, it's as simple as that. Without even touching upon the historical record and the suggestion and the stories that have developed across so many cultures, right? Whose stories are the same. This idea of the creation story, and they all lead back to a particular artifact that was discovered, right? With countless others.
Yep.
So, but I'm not going to go into that particular story, right? What I'm going to do, I'm going to stay within the modern realm, right? Science has discovered that there are genetic markers within our genome, right, that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be there. You think, well, what do you mean they shouldn't be there? Well, they shouldn't be there. They're and I use this term, they're alien from life on here, on Earth.
Right.
Yeah, everything on Earth pretty much is a genetic marker that say it was from here, like a stamp, you know, made in China, wherever. Right? We have a dodgy one. Right? We're a schneid, we're a copy, right? And science has got to the point where they've realised that, and they've actually publicly turned around and said that don't make sense, it shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And what they compare
then
with?
You go then. See, I'm no scientist. I'm not going to get into the semantics of all of it, right? But human beings are really clever, right?
Yes.
They've got networks all around the world, and they start making discoveries and realizations and putting part of the jigsaw together. And then when they all start collectively something that doesn't make sense, that's the anomaly. And this is where we're at. There's anomaly here, right? Because this can't be found in anything else, and all the rest of it. You know, everything that we've discovered basically has got a made in Earth sticker. You know, a made in Earth Station 1, whatever you want to call it, right? It's got that brand. Now we've got a funny brand. Right, there's something that shouldn't be there, but it is there. And then you look at the fossil records, right? Or should I say the Darwinian tree of evolutionary process, should we say, as various creatures begin to adapt to their environment over a prolonged period of time, right? We see through the archaeological record there is plenty of branches of the bipedal great ape family, right, that went into Homo erectus, Neanderthalic aspects. They're all part of this humanoid branch that stem from the great apes. Now, you can follow that archaeological evolution through the artifacts and the remains that are found. Our particular tree, you can follow it up to a point, and then all of a sudden it's human, right? There's this fucked up gap, humans.
Yeah.
Then you tie that in with all of the aforementioned stories from back in the past, that basically indicate another group of entities, to use one of Mary's words, right? Group of entities rocked up, right? And they started playing X, Y, Z. Boom, here you go. Here's made in wherever. Right? And that's us. No other species, no other animal on the planet that isn't equipped to live on the planet that it was born on. Right? Every creature on the planet is perfectly adapted to the environment and the choice that it's meant to do. Human beings cannot adapt in several places on the planet, even though we were born and bred here.
Exactly.
We've been led to believe.
Exactly.
Right? We can't function without wearing the skins of other animals. Right? There's something gone on. Right? There's been a disconnect with our innate capabilities, and you have to ask yourself why that is. Right, then you look at the process of societal evolution, how societies, historically speaking, start off from a little mud hut and small gathering of individuals. And as they grow and they learn, their talents get better. They get mastery at woodworking. Then that woodworking turns into masonry. That masonry turns into metallurgy, and so on and so forth. And you can see the rise and the splendor and the craftsmanship begin to evolve as a society matures and grows intellectually, spiritually, knowledge, right? But yet here we have these megalithic structures around the world that appear simultaneously, like as if all at the same time on the same historical timeline for around the world, right? Cultures all around the world: China, Asia, the Middle East, the Mesoamericas, Egypt, Turkey. All of these places, all of a sudden, have structures and capabilities of a civilization that is at the peak. And when I say the peak, I mean the peak of its technological know-how. right? And then
Right.
for at least 2,000 years, everything that comes after that is wank. And I use that word specially, it's wank. You can see the decline and comprehension of this understanding. And then when you go along with the written archaeological record where there was a group of people that came along and said, hey, let me show you some shit, showing them how to do some shit, then bounced. And then you can see the decline within humanity.
So here's the thing. What that sounds to me, this is what it sounds to me like in even simpler terms. So, and for those who are listening, and you know, religious, frequent the Bible in any way, shape, or form, please understand that we're just applying another possibility, right? So what you're really saying is super being moving about the universe, moving about the galaxy quicker than light speed. We're using like some sort of quantum pathways. Boom, boom, boom. They turn up here. Oh, what's this? Now, from some of the stories we've been told, some of the information we've gleaned, one character in particular was like, oh, I'm looking for a planet that's got some gold on it, mate, because my planet's kind of messed up. A little bit like Krypton, yeah. And he stumbles across Earth. What's this? Oh, it's gold all over the spot. Hey, but I am a superior being. I'm not going to dig this out. I will make workers. I will make a team to get it, and then goes about and does that. Now, some of us are sitting there thinking of it's alive, right? Others are thinking more on the more like the Clone Wars, them type of situation, right? But think about this. Look what we are doing. Consider this. Look what we're doing, or look what our species is doing when it comes to, in parentheses, medical exploration, research, advancements, progress, right? And I just listened to Carl make a really good expression, and you noticed in his tale, you noticed the up and down situation. You notice how 1 minute everything's there, and then the next thing you know, things are kind of fittily done, and then all of a sudden there's this brilliant, and then but it's shittily done, and then brilliant. And what that tells me is that a massive entity comes in, brings in knowledge, right, to this group of individuals that they all know exist, that are all brand new, don't know anything. Yeah, I see what you do with this. Oh, now they think they're naked. Now they're looking for clothes. Now they're skinning animals and making clothes. So is this the direction this is the direction they've gone? Imagine that. Imagine the three of us are super beings, and we've done this project. Just imagine we've done this project, right? And every week, the end of the week, we come back to this project. It's like, imagine, like it's like a real, not in a computer, real life Sim City, and the three of us control it. I've got my city, you two have got yours. You know, we're building airports, and it seems like that everybody's cool. You know, we try a few things and see whether. You can imagine that. Well, to me, it feels like that. When you're speaking of, when you look at the evidence of what's in front of us, and the fact that as a species we're still like, how'd you do that? What's that? It's a pyramid, isn't it? No, it's something else. What? How'd you build it? I don't know. Do you? No, do you? Well then, what? Then what's it doing here? I don't know. They're scratching their heads, you know, like cavemen. Honestly, humans are like cavemen looking at the pyramid, scratching their heads. What's that? You know, it makes you wonder, right? It makes me feel as if the teachers came, dropped some stuff off to the students or to the new whatever, and then they step back. Let's see what they do with this. And it's this, like you said. I think we were having a discussion yesterday. This crazy experiment. We're all in sundry as a group that have come together, put this thing together, and they're all taking a look.
Mm.
and we've developed to this point.
Well, let's not skate about the bush, right? Or beat about the bush, should I say?
Okay, fine. Just
Right,
go for it, man.
let's just go for it.
Go on.
Right,
Go on.
the story that Iani's regaling here, right, is one of a group of individuals that lived on a planet far, far away, right? They were very much like us, very warlike and insecure, constantly fighting for dominance over their neighbour, etc., to the point they nearly blew up their planet, just like we're approaching now, you know, with the event of World War III and a nuclear arms race yet again. It's great, isn't it? Right,
Yeah.
but we'll leave that there. We'll put a pin in that. Right, so these lot really nearly blew up their planet, nearly messed up their shit. Then they realised that one world government is the way forward. Right, it's not that similar to what we're seeing now, but we'll put a pin in that. We'll leave it there. Right.
Yep.
So they've got this leader, and they realise right now, what can we do to sort out our atmosphere, because it's kind of messed up, because, you know, we're idiots. And then they realise, some smart individuals, just like we got one or two here, right, turn around and say, well, if you particlise gold, right, it will, and then spray it into the atmosphere, it will reflect enough solar radiation and everything else to give the planet and the atmosphere time to heal, to regenerate itself, to fix itself. A bit like we discovered when the world got locked down for a little while and the air quality just kind of improved tenfold around the planet. But we'll put a pin in that and leave that there. Right? So these individuals get together and they say, right, look, we've done all this, right? We're squirting up this gold, and gold's getting a bit scarce now. They don't value it the way we do, you know what I mean? It's just another mineral that they squirt up into the sky. I don't really care about it, right? But basically, it's helping develop and fix their atmosphere. So they send a few emissaries. We call them away teams, so we keep it in a pop culture term, right? So they send up a few away teams, various places. Right, they go around the solar system looking at various places, and then they find this funky little blue planet, right, bobbing about. Right, we didn't mention that had a dome or it was a snow globe or anything, but we'll put a pin in that. We'll leave it there. Right, right. But they got here, right? They landed here, right, and they realised that this place is a bit bizarre, bit weird, bit funky, bit like a nightclub, right? Because where they're from, it's like daytime for a month or something, and then nighttime for a month. It might even be 2 months. For all intents and purposes, might even be longer. My memory fails me on them finer details. Right. But you get the gist I'm trying to paint. So they get here, right, and it's night and day, night and day, night and day, night and day. It's driving them fucking mad, right? And they've got incredibly long lives, right? So they're here for a long time. But they realise this place is absolutely washed with gold. You can walk along the beach and just pick it up in scoops. It's everywhere, right? So they start developing bases. Some of them in our archaeological record called Earth Station 1, one of the big kind of archaeological sites still left over in the archaeological record is in South Africa, the rings of South Africa, ancient copper, uranium mines, long before we even knew what it was, but we'll put a pin in that and leave that there. Right, copper mines used to house and citadels built into the earth beyond any comprehensions that we had at the time. But again, you know, this pinboard's getting quite big. We'll put a pin and leave that there. Right. So now you've got a long period of time going past, you know, long beyond our kind of comprehensions, and now they're getting tired. They've had enough of this shit. It's night and day, working conditions are rubbish, and it's weighing on them, you know. They're beginning to age. They get the odd visit, you know, the odd VO from a family member and everything, and they visit, and they go, what's happening to you? You look like shit. Says, this place is crap. It's crazy. It's night, day, night, day, night, day. It's a fucking nightmare, right? And anyway, they go back, some stay, right? And then there's this argument, right? I'm tired of doing this, so they bring up their mates right now. These mates, they're the Gigi, right? They live on another planet, not too far away, actually, within our solar system. Be quite surprised, but we'll put a pin in that and leave it there. Right?
There's a lot of pins, man.
I know this pinboard's getting full, mate. This pinboard's getting full.
And there's a reason. There's a reason.
It sure is. Right, so the Agigi rock up, right? Now the Agigi turn up and say, all right, what do you want us to do? And say, right, get in them holes, right, dig this gold out, we need this gold. Say, all right, no problem. Now the Agigi crack on for some unfathomable amount of time. Then the Agigi start realising that they've had enough as well. And let me tell you something about the Agigi. Now the Agigi ain't from here either, so, you know, there's another alien race, but we'll just leave that there on that pinboard. Right, so the Agigi after a while turn around and say, this is bullshit, we're not doing this. Well, you're not your slaves, like you're taking a piss, right? And they start having a round, an argument, and nearly frigging cause a whole bag of nightmare and ruckus up on the planet. There's power arguments among themselves to the point it goes, right, we're going to leave or we're going to sort this out. We need to do something, right? So the chief, you know, of the away team turns round to Bones. We'll call him Bones, right? history knows him as Enki, right? But he's got
Yeah.
lots of other names, right? But we'll call him Bones for convenience sake. So we turn around to Bones and say, Bones, is there anything you can do? He said, well, while I've been walking about, I've seen all kinds of weird things. I've seen all kinds of weird animals. But I've been watching this one. He's got rudimentary hands. It seems to, you know, with the right kind of tweaking, might be able to fashion some tools, you know what I mean? Might be able to work some tools. So there's this debate, and now this intergalactic treaties that says you can't do that kind of shit. It's not on. Do you know what I mean? You're not meant to fucking do that. That's bollocks. Shouldn't do it, right? But they do it anyway. So now, look, we need the gold, right? Fuck this planet. Nothing here apart from these weird animals. Fuck it. Do it anyway, right? So they do it, right? And for a long time, you know, they kept doing it, and they kept reverting back to like their more primitive state after a couple of reproduction processes. You know, once they start mating and everything else, they have a tendency to go back to minimal form. And they can't understand it for the life of them. I can't work this out. It's doing my fucking head in, this is, right? So what he does, right, he starts making all the tech out of the materials that they find here, right? Instead of using all their stuff, they start making stuff here out of the clay of Earth. But we'll put a pin in that and we'll leave it there, right?
There you go. There you go. There you go.
There's key one to your creation story, right?
Right, yeah.
How do you know all that, Carl? How do you know?
Archaeological record.
That's
Some geezer, some strange fella, right, just started making up some shit. You know, just like we wrote Star Wars nowadays, right? Yeah, some geezer about 50,000 years ago picked up a clay tablet and did lots of triangle cuneiform little patterns, right, and just did this sort of like 10 tablet long story about this sack of shit, right, and then buried it, and then we found it, and we're reading it now. But how do we know anything? But we'll put a pin in that.
Do you want to mention the name of the guy for the audience? Just is anyone interested?
The guy, the name of the guy. What guy?
Well, when I asked you how do you know all that, you were mentioning about someone.
Clay tablets. There's been various interpretations of the clay tablets. They differ somewhat pertain to what translator interpretates these tablets, but by and large their overlays are relatively the same. There's subtle little nuances, but fundamentally their interpretations are the same. So we can take that as some kind of self-evident form of evidence to say there's few people from around the world that can read this language, although their translations differ a little bit, fundamentally it's the same. So we're going to run with this story. Okay? They call it the creation story in these particular tablets, and there was over 1 million of them found, 800,000 initially in the 40s or the 50s, found in modern day Iraq, which at the time, back of the timeline that I'm talking about, would have been around the Persian Crescent between the Tigris and the Euphrates River. But again, there's another pin and a pin board, and we'll place that up there. Right. So we'll get back to this whole creation thing. So they make the first lot now. They make the first lot, and the first lot are fundamentally half and half. Half of what was here and half of these, as Yanni put it, these rather kind of clever individuals of great renown and stature for all intents and purposes. Right? And they put this first lot to work. After a little while, this first lot's like, hang on a minute, this is shit. You give us all the thinking, all the knowledge and everything else. Now we know, we can comprehend what you've got us doing, even though you're the shit and you're the gods and everything else, right? But this is out of order. And there's some other people, part of the away team, they have a tendency to agree with the new little seedlings, these new things. Who knows what they are? Lulus, that's what we'll call them, Lulus, and in their ancient dialect, that meant primitive worker. Right, but again, we'll leave that there, right? So we've got this primitive worker that's just been created, right? But with all the attributes, all the brain capacity of these people from somewhere else, for all intents and purposes, right? And there's a big argument that kicks off. It's like, you can't really do that. You can't work them like that. You can't treat them like that, because fundamentally they're us. Yeah, they didn't ask for it. We did it, and we're taking the piss. Yeah. Because just like us, there's some people that develop spiritually and desire higher paradigms and higher vibrational thoughts of expression and compassion of this thing that we call existence, right? And there are others, just like there are humans, that couldn't give a shit and they just want what they want, and they won't get done what they want to get done, and anybody stands in the way won't be tight, just like there is here. Right, so there's a big old scuffle, there's a big old conflict, things are blowing up, there's stories of wars and all kinds of stuff. Right, and the first lot, well, they bounce. with a few members of the away team. They go elsewhere, right? So now they're left with that ism again. So they rock up with the Igigi turn out to get stuff. We know what you're up to. And the Igigi, by all sense and purposes, has got their eye on what's just been created, because some of them are fair and beautiful. But we'll put a pin in that and we'll leave it there. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're doing this, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, you are.
Right.
Yep.
So, right, the second lot get made. Now, the people that made the first lot, they're not too happy, because now there's just big conflicts and divisions between the ones that came and visited just to get some gold. Now there's arguments between the Agigi, the first lot, and there's this weird fetish thing going on for what's just been created. Like, ooh, it's quite nice, it's smooth and shiny, it's lovely, right? And they get them to work. The first lot that are away realise what the fuck's going on, so they come back, and guess what happens? Well, there's another conflict, isn't there, right? It's also written in our archaeological historical record. Just check it out, fabulous stories, right? But it all kicks off again. And the group of the second lot, when they get taken, that want to go. There's some that want to stay, but some that want to go, because they realise you working us to death for taking a piss. And it bounce. Now the third lot gets made. It's got everything the other lot have got, basically right down to the point, but there's this small, subtle difference. You know, all that cognitive ability that the other lot had, where they could start asking better quality questions. What nowadays scientists call junk DNA. Yeah, they turned all that off, right? Disconnected and stuff. Right? So we don't have these fuckers asking better quality questions, right? And then there you have it. Here we are, hundreds of thousands of years later, right? Here we are. Humanoid, pinky, right? The primitive Lulu. A primitive worker. For maniacal beings that nearly blew up their planet, decided to work out a one world government, sodded off somewhere else so they could mine the precious minerals, realised that the manpower was scarce, created another life form to do their bidding, and we've been collecting gold and coveting ever since, and every time countries get a vast amount of it, all of a sudden it disappears. But no one seems to ask their question why. But we'll put a pin in that.
We'll just leave that one right there for a moment, ladies and gentlemen. You see that? You see that? And just before we do anything else, ladies and gentlemen, there's just a moment where we're actually going to be sensible here. And this is where we take a small word from some commercial sponsorship break. We shall be back after these words.
We'll be back.
Well, there you go, people. After that short break, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty and the bones of extraterrestrial life.
Continue on,
How we're doing.
Continue on.
Here we are, and you are listening to the House of Lords, the House of Lords. Myself, Carl, Iani, and Mary Marys. And we're discussing extraterrestrials. Where were we, Iani?
Well, you were actually, but you've finally got to the stage of where we had discussed a possibility. We had explained, which is, historical record actually, but we've discussed a possibility, not maybe a well-known one, but still possibility of our creation and the reason as to why we came about. Now, listen, again, this isn't a situation of where we are discounting any religion, any text, anything, nothing. No, we're not doing that. We're just piecing together knowledge that is actually out there and not coming to any conclusions or jumping to any, speculate. It's not speculative. If it was speculative, then there would be a lot of ums and ahs. But if you noticed in Carl's delivery, it didn't sound speculative to me. Marius, did you think that sounded speculative from Carl, his explanation just then?
Did I think? Well, first of all, I don't think. That's the question. Do I think? Based on what everything Carl said, obviously I have no mind to think, right, for my own, because...
Oh, what? Are you sheep? Are you
sounds like the planet is like a farm itself. And we are the workers on the farm.
Yeah. Woo. You know, what's interesting is that as you say that, and I hear that ding 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 ding, you know, that sounded very farm-like, right? I'm just saying, yeah. But what is that? But ladies and gentlemen, what is the possibility right there? I mean, what are we talking about? Well, are we talking about the farm animals are actually we're not running the farm, are we? We're not running our own farm, are we?
Oh, we hold on. We have the government. That's a question. Who runs the government? Ooh.
Oh, see, now you've gone down another little wormhole, haven't you? Now you've opened another little Pandora's box.
Well, let's take a look at that because, like, look, imagine it was government of the people, by the people, right, for the people, yeah. So imagine that was the case. So we literally, we manifest that which the group can rely on to sort of not centralize, but to administrate more of not the complex goods, but just overall sort of housing of any type of understanding, be it from business, be it rural, agricultural, educational, any one of those topics, if that's what society is doing, right? But mate, if it is as we have depicted, if that is even a possibility, just go with us here. That's a possibility. If that's a possibility, then when you mentioned like the brass age, or no, the bronze age, and how we've got this we seem to have this story of how we've gone through the ages, the Stone Age, where the stuff that we used was made from this, that, and the other, and then we went through the Bronze Age and so forth. Like, we've gone through all these different ages, and to me, as you were explaining that stuff earlier on, it felt as if it honestly felt like it felt like the entire storyline behind the Planet of the Apes. And
for a moment, he had in my head, for some reason, I don't know why, I had that image where the sheep cannot see the farmer, but just the dogs that are being guided by the shepherd.
Yeah.
What's that saying I brought to the table before? We as a species fundamentally have become the farmer, the sheepdog, the sheep, and the pen.
Yeah, and the pen.
That's the level on how we're governing ourselves constantly.
But isn't it a reason why it's called government?
Well, if you look at the Latin, it's governmente, which is basically the govern is control, to govern, and the ment is mind. So fundamentally, what we are looking at is government within the Latin interpretation is mind control or govern the mind.
Mind control. Interesting. Bom bam bom bam. Some people just drop their coffees. Anybody who's listening on their phone, and they pulled over. Like, what did they just say? What did they just say?
So is it fair to say that the government are those dogs that keeps reminding the sheep who they are?
It depends who the government is and who. It depends on. But
you're missing the point there. You're differentiating the government as if they're a separate entity to the rest of the flock.
No, it's part of the same flock.
It's all the same flock.
Yeah, it's all the same lot.
What I was saying is using our own to be the dog, like you mentioned, Carl, right? We are the dogs. We are the flock. We are the pen. We are just within our mind with someone. People don't want to look a way out of the box, as we say, right?
Well, and you know what? The first thing that comes to mind as you're saying that, Marius, is every night we put ourselves in the pen. We close the door. We all right. I'm going in for the night. And we lock.
We have a lock.
In.
We don't need a dog anymore. We have a lock.
No, man, we can do it ourselves. And we lock ourselves in.
So the wolf doesn't come in, right?
No, and then back in the day when it was like when you heard the ginga ganga ginga ganga ginga ganga of the big massive fucking metal triangle thing that woke everything up, right? Or the cockerel. No, man, we don't even need that. We got alarm clocks now. So, I mean, we're really good now. They're like, wow, these guys, look at them. They're like, they put themselves away. They fix themselves, right? Wow. Each night they switch off the lights and they go to bed. And then they wake up the next day and they run amok. It's like, you know, I mean, you could look at it. Okay, we could look at it from that perspective, right?
No, you're good to laugh. Don't change the term. You're good to laugh. It is a joke.
Because
It's a joke, but people don't see it. You know, it's like in prison,
Right.
There's a certain time you lock your door, you're locked in your room, right? But people are still locking themselves in. It's like, oh no, outside scary, right? It's like we're so conditioned to this conformity, and I love the idea because I used to have chickens. I used to love putting them away at night because I used to shake their little feed tray, and they used to all come around and they used to go in their pen and they'd lock them out, right? And we're the same. We're no different, really.
Yeah, but we don't need someone to lock us up. We just program for it.
Exactly. We've done it. We're doing it ourselves. We'll do it to our animals. You know, any animals that are associated with us, that's what we'll do to them. Look around. Every single animal that's associated with us, we lock it up. That's what.
So how would someone break from that?
To break from it is to understand that the level of. You have to have a level of respect. You have to have a level of. You have to then understand what actual love is in order for you to understand the equality that is, i.e., the value each. That if you exist in that space, then you have value. Whether you're a blade of grass or an elephant, you have value. Right? There's
You
a
see,
harm.
this is where, because I have Carl in my ear right now. We understand. What do you mean by understand? You know,
Oh, fine.
and I was like, how the words themselves.
Yeah, let's not use that word.
used,
Okay, let's not use that word.
Right?
Thank you. No, we're not using that word. We're not using that word. No,
Okay. Comprehend.
Comprehend is a lot. Is much better. Yes, comprehend is what we're using, and
Are we in construction side again?
and we're retracting. Understand? Okay, we've retracted that. Cancel. There you go. Yes. Gosh, Marius, what did you just?
Well, so from this comes to the point where we can pay attention to the way we speak,
Yes.
communicate with each other,
Right.
and with ourselves, or when we describe ourselves, or how we see ourselves, right?
But then isn't that
having the capability of understanding, comprehending the fact that words are frequency and words have impact.
So frequency have impact. If you take away words and say frequency has impact, and that then now when you listen to any other animal out there, now it makes sense, you see. Frequency has impact.
We ain't even touched upon the deep underground military bases, you know, various abduction cases.
I mean, we've just taken it
back
back.
engineered projects.
We've not even left planet Earth yet, because we've just gone inwards all of a sudden.
Yeah, we can say that this is an introduction. We're gonna have further podcasts where we can take you even deeper, take you further. We just
We're
just
planting
at the
seeds.
surface at the moment.
Yeah.
Just
No, if that was a service, that was a crash course in people's roofs.
Mate, if that was just the surface things, man, then yeah. The big's up, mate.
well, he may be okay. Let's put it this way: he may be a
tear in
surface for
the tear in
Sam.
the sky is obvious now. What?
He may be a surface for Sam, and he may be a lot more for others that they have never come across such subjects or not been interested about it.
Mm.
Can we say that?
We
Yes.
can say that. You just did.
You did.
No, I just did that.
Yeah, you just did.
So
That's good.
I actually want to. What's funny is as you said that I actually want to go back to the little phrase that I mentioned just before you said that, Maris. Was I said tear in the sky. The reason I said tear in the sky is because so there's a picture that most of the world knows. If they've gone online, if they've ever been intrigued in any kind of space-looking pictures, you know those ones that are sort of. If I say they're made up, well, anyway, no. Behave yourself, man. What's wrong with you? You're supposed to behave when you're on the podcast. Stop doing that. Okay. So what I was saying was, those pictures of space, but you see like the galaxy and the Milky Way and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Right.
CGI things,
Right.
The deep telescope pictures. The Hubble
Right,
and
so-
stuff like that. Yeah.
So I always used to talk about how this one picture, to me, to everyone else, it looks like a cluster, like it looks like the Milky Way is packed in this little cluster that runs across the page. When you see it, it runs across the length of the image, and then it's kind of like jagged and stuff. And I've never seen it like that. To me, it looks like a crack in the sky. It looks like something smashed, and now you can actually see out. The rest of the sky is like a certain thing. And the reason why I say that is because I once thought about that, and then I went online and I looked at every single picture. I think it's the Milky Way. I looked at every single one that's depicted out there, and it doesn't matter what shade, what color they use. It doesn't matter what background or scenery is around it, right? It doesn't matter. It's always exactly the same shape. It's never changed, ever. Don't believe me, guys? Take a look. It's the same series of squiggles and swirls, and it looks like something smashed, and now you can see out.
I wish I knew the image you were talking about. I most probably do, because I've seen a lot of those deep telemetry. Is that the right term? I don't know. The deep kind of spatial pictures where they look deep into the galaxy and take pictures, and they find these Oort clouds and galaxies and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the Milky Way. Let's see. I've been places here on this beautiful planet of ours,
and you can
with
see
no light pollution.
Exactly, and you can see it then.
No light pollution at all.
Yeah.
Out in the desert in Jordan.
Yeah.
Beautiful night skies. Out in the Falklands, there was a time where I was up on one of the mountains doing a live firing exercise with the Navy, and some of the views you got, just unreal. I've been in situations where the illumination from the night sky is give you regular vision. If my dialect most probably didn't do that sentence any justice whatsoever, but it's clear as day, should we say, but just with a nighttime hue. You know, but it's just unbelievably bright, and stars beyond the mind could count.
That's what it's like in Morocco.
Just absolutely stunning. Stunning.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Right just before the desert, just before Agadir. What was it? A village I would always frequent, which is Taghazout. It's about 18 kilometers north of Agadir, on the coast. Little fishing village. I'd always go and stay there. I knew the two main people of the village and stuff there. I introduced them a while back, and sitting on the roof of the house, because I'd have my room at the top of the house, and then I had the patio at the top of the house and stuff. So I'd put a little fire there and stuff, and make my tagine, and just sitting there looking out at the sea, And on a clear night, when there's no stars, you're like, I won't walk about for a minute. You can just see everything. I mean everything. You can see when things go past. You can see satellites going past. You can see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's and I mean, you can tell it's a satellite because even though it's so far up, it's just your naked eye. You can actually see its movement, and you can see the way it carefully just coasts across the sky, and you'll see like a coppery bronze look to it. It's
It's like a small dot. I observed that at night myself.
I mean, when it's clear, you can literally see. You can. It's almost like you can see it move. Like you can see it in as it's moving. You can almost see it rotating in its motion as to something else, or just the clarity that you get where you literally can see every star, everything. And if the moon's out, woo!
I went through a phase of watching a lot of Stephen Greer. You know, the UFO Press Club, the National Press Club Disclosure Project, and everything else.
Stephen Greer, yes.
Dr. Stephen Greer, that was it.
Ignite your vitality. Meet the LifeSpring Gold Card, a quantum leap in wellness. Revitalize your bioenergy, boost stamina, ease aches, and improve your mental focus. Shield yourself from electromagnetic frequencies emitted from cell phones, laptops, and other smart technologies. Restructure tap water, revitalize food, and harmonize everything around you. Elevate well-being with LifeSpring, made in the USA. Order today from VanessaElston.com.
You know, the UFO Press Club, the National Press Club Disclosure Project, and everything else.
Stephen Greer, yes.
Dr. Stephen Greer, that was it. Back in 2001 or 2002, I think it was.
Great man.
And I did go for a phase, it must have been well over a year, I suppose, where I was out in my garden on a regular basis. I would quite happily make myself a nice flask, wrap up warm, get one of the sun loungers out, or a sleeping bag, or one of the knitted throws, and just lie there looking up at the sky. And you see, the moment you start actually paying attention, and you see all those satellites. Now, I've seen those satellites do some funky things, though. You know, what's had me go, I don't know if that was a satellite.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, those instant right angle turns.
All those wiggly.
All of that.
Squiggly stars. Yeah.
Change of directory and all of that on an instant. I've seen some become so bright as if they were supernovaing a far off distance and then vanish completely. I've seen clusters of them reappear, and I'll even go so far as saying I've seen some stuff that's made me go, oh wow. Right. And I mean that. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm now convinced. You know, I've seen enough kind of stuff up there to go, yeah, there's certainly something more than what we're being told. Exactly. And I'm being very vague on what I've seen. I know I am. But I've seen enough. I've seen some stuff that defies explanation. I'd say one of the things defied explanation up until 3 nights ago when I was in the Lake District and I watched a Netflix thing on UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a segment about the back engineered projects.
Mm-hmm.
And it was touching upon, do you remember the stealth Blackbird?
Yes.
And then there was the one after that, the one with all the angles. There was the one that was just like a sleek, big.
Oh, that's right.
With the jets, you know, it was a bomber.
The bomber, and then you had
stealth
the fight.
Something. Yeah, and then you had the
bomber.
fighter one.
And then you had the stealth fighter, yeah.
Yeah. Now there was one. Now I forget the name, and I hope it comes to me.
SR-71A, SR-71A.
Yeah, something like that. Aurora Project, something like that. Where it was a triangular craft just a
Oh.
wedge, a triangular craft. Again, with the acclaimed 3 light sources on the corners.
Yes.
But this was back engineered tech. This was, I say, our tech, human beings. That aspect of it, and apparently it had the ability to bend light. And for a while, I thought we weren't quite there yet as a species. But I've seen loads of discoveries recently and released stuff that's made me question what I initially saw. What I initially saw was either this particular craft that you just mentioned there and I'm talking about, or it was otherworldly.
Right.
Because it was translucent. You could see, and I had somebody with me at the time on this particular night, and we both saw this thing, and we were both mesmerized, and we said, right, don't say nothing. Right, and we just watched it until basically we couldn't see it anymore, and we immediately went into my kitchen. I said, don't tell me what you saw. Right, I grabbed 2 pieces of paper. Right, I said, let's draw what we saw. Right, I drew what I thought I saw. Well, I'm not going to say that. I drew what I saw, and my friend drew what they saw, and they were identical. Basically, we saw the same thing.
Right.
And it was confirmation, because this thing was translucent. It bent the light. You could see.
Wow.
As it was refracted, as it passed under the stars, you could see as if, like you're looking at a fishbowl with water or something. Yeah.
That's nuts.
And the way it bends the light as it passes through, a bit like the Predator thing. You could see the leaves, but they were, it was that kind of scenario. And
that's nuts.
Like I said, I always presumed that there was something else until I saw this documentary I saw a few days ago, and they mentioned this new craft that I wasn't aware of. I was like, it could have been that, because that looked very similar to what I saw, but it didn't have those cornered bits.
Oh,
so,
wow.
You see, but and that's one of a few occasions where I've seen something bizarre. There's been a couple of times where I was in the armed forces and I was with other soldiers, and we've seen what is that, and that whole thing followed shortly after, a couple of jets, etc. All of that kind of stuff.
Right.
You hear these stories of back engineered craft. So if not for off-worldly activity, that these things are being back engineered, then whose are they?
Yeah,
because no country's claiming ownership of these damn craft.
Right. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating how there is, you see all of these amazing incidences. There's so much of it recorded in history, so much in books, scrolls, on caves, and it's always this understanding of a group, an entity, a group that seem to shine brighter than those that are recording them, that seem to stand technologically taller than those that are recording them. It's an interesting thing when you look back. And you look back at like some of those images on the early cave, where you've got certain inscriptions, and then you've got what looked like a man in a spacesuit. You're like, wait a minute, what's that doing there? Did they just add that? Nah, they didn't just add that. Did they? What? No, it's not added. That's part of what it was. Because what you said earlier, Carl, that's the only way that type of thing could work. It's the only way it would work, as if there's always these stories of those brighter than others appearing from time to time throughout history, always, and it accounts for the immediate rise in whatever productivity, whatever progression humanity then takes after that visit, and then it peters out, and then there's another visit. It's almost like it's like, how can I put this? Humanity, they're handing humanity these different things, and humanity's learning them. And then once it feels like, okay, yeah, humanity's mastered that. Okay, now try this. And then they watch for the next 200, 300, 400 years, see how humanity works. The next 200 years, see how humanity's working. I think it's been happening. I think there's been way more scrutiny of us. So it feels like we've been scrutinized. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but it feels as if we have been scrutinized more over the last 150 years than we have in thousands. In thousands we've been monitored, but I feel like we've been scrutinized and trained. I don't know if that makes sense.
You know, because I'm looking at the sky, I'm in the garden.
Nice.
And you know, when we discuss sometimes the chemtrail situation, right?
Yes.
Some people have different views, like, oh, they poison us, which that's a possibility. But when you look at the reason how they've been developed and why, because it creates a barrier, like a cloud where you cannot see. Now the question is, why are they blocking the view of the sky so often?
It's big.
Good question, man.
Well done, Marius. We move to an exciting round here in this episode. We do. Marius, lead us through, sir. We are at your side.
Yes, bring us into this notion of chemtrails and cloud seeding and cloud covering.
Well, my question is, okay, it may be a possibility that it's somewhat affecting us, right, from a molecular level, but at the same time, it has something to do with blocking the sky, of not seeing certain activities. This is what comes to mind, because when you look at it and there are different videos how they were developed by some army projects. It's to actually block the view.
So I'm going to play
the barrier.
Yeah, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Marius. What do you think they could be possibly blocking the view of?
Well, anyways, there is something that can be seen and doesn't need to be seen by, well, they don't want us to see it. Whoever they are, that's a good question.
They don't want it to see. So what you're saying, okay, so with my vivid imagination, my vivid childlike imagination, let me say now, so could they be blocking the view of another planet or something?
Well, is he another planet, or is he something else?
Or is it spaceship?
Different kind of activities. Is he, as you know, Carl mentioned at the beginning about the gold and the mining and all that, is he for us not to see when the gold is being extracted, or?
Well, and then sent off world, you mean?
Yeah.
I like
that.
This idea of sort of like, quick, let's chuck a blanket up there because we've got, we've got the overlords coming to turn up. They're coming to collect their yearly deposit. Their yearly, not deposit. What is it?
Their tax.
Yeah, their tax. Yeah, their tax.
We're not going there.
Their tax all their no. Check this out. Not their tax, their spice. June? Okay, fine, fair enough. No, don't worry.
I went to a different place.
So did I.
Let me go where I went first, Marius, if I may, right?
Go for it.
I went to, that new drug, right? It's not a new drug, but something called spice. There's a kind of pandemic of it going on up and down this country, some spice. And in this instance, the spice is the gold, and Human beings have this penchant for coveting gold. You know, they love it, they want it, they value themselves, they think they have some form of wealth the more they put around themselves and have access to. It is their spice, I suppose, their addiction.
The other thing that came up, it's me coming across a particular spring in Romania where the water contains gold particle. And it, actually, you can search it because it's actually marketed, and apparently it's beneficial for the body to live longer and to keep the body younger.
Legend. In ancient Egyptian, again, what they call it, papyrus. There you go, papyrus. There is mention of what they call montanic gold. They used to particleize. Here's this for fabulous, right? Here's the furnace. Here's the science behind this lovely little equation, right? To particleize gold to the state that is referenced in these papyrus, you have to bring a furnace up to kind of around the surface temperature of the sun to basically particleize gold into this montanic state, right? And this is the science that is needed. This is the kind of comprehension that is needed. And there are, ready for this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, artifacts around the world that show indications of temperatures of this magnitude, being exposed to temperatures of that magnitude. And those things that have been exposed to temperatures of that magnitude just happen to be furnaces of some unthinkable age. But again, remember that pinboard? We'll put a pin in there.
But
yeah, sorry. Where I was going with that, I got caught up on the backstory of it, right? I did, right? There's reference to this montanic gold being made into the temple priest king's breads, right? Because it helps with neuron and synaptic connections within the brain. Because gold is the best conductor of electricity because it doesn't lose current throughout its travel, and it shows that the human brain actually has loads of montanic gold within it naturally, so it functions quite well with that substance. So yeah, there you go, Marius. There's also reference to that within our archaeological past.
No wonder with all these expensive restaurants where they have gold-plated steaks and you name it, right?
I take that. You see that montanic gold that he was mentioning? I have a monochromic or monochromic suspension of gold. I have one of silver, I have one of copper, and I have one of zinc that I use. There's a company that does them, and I've used that company now for the last God knows how many years now. Yeah, I use that stuff, and I tell you, if you do a bunch at night, like you put it under your tongue, some drops under your tongue. But if you do it at night, yeah, you can have an interesting. You can have an interesting journey, sleep and elsewhere.
By the way, gentlemen, ladies, we're not suggesting to start taking your gold and putting it in your food. There may be a particular process and also a particular gold that's being used, which Carl mentioned.
Here's another way we can begin to access those lovely little aspects of our brain. It's an ancient tradition. I say ancient, right? One where to stimulate the enlightenment process, right? If you have access to a shower, right? If you can get your shower on to a tiny little drip, just a drip, right? Lie underneath it so it's landing right
on your
forehead,
third
eye, right? Boom, 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 like tap, tap, tap. But I want you to imagine that tap. I want you to place your consciousness, your awareness, within the center and back a tad, around 2 inches, into your third eye realm. Right, and imagine as that water taps onto your forehead that it seeps through and it begins to decalcify the pineal. It begins to wash away, and because of the mindful state and the notion of mind over matter, the placebo effect, therefore, state of mind is everything and circumstance is nothing, begins to decalcify your pineal gland to increase all of the aforementioned junk.
So would you? Oh my goodness! Look where my mind took me. You know that they presented that in movies that this was a technique used by Chinese to torture by dripping
Torture
water on the head, right?
on the forehead, right?
Is it so they get us to think that this is a torture and not to use it? I don't know. It's weird that it came up with this kind of way of looking at it. It's like,
Well,
no, that's a torture.
You bring up an interesting point there, one that I struggled with, that kind of led me to reading and purchasing some of the more darker arts kind of literature, right? Because I had this notion and this comprehension, well, everything that is coveted and sacred for the development of consciousness to move into the higher paradigms that could facilitate in one's enlightenment process, ascension journey, is coveted and kept in the occult realms. And
Right.
that is being masqueraded as holy for the soul is put out there publicly, but yet all those in influential positions of power do something very different.
Yep.
So it led me to kind of a funky place, just like Marius said, this kind of paradox that, okay, so let me explore this whole kind of darker aspect of what they're worshipping and what their comprehensions are. And it took me down a very dark rabbit hole, reading the likes of Crowley and some other stuff, all of those darker aspects of potential. And what I come to realize is what it is that they cover is the very nature of the development of what is, and your play with it, because that's
Right.
what it is. It's a play with the very thing that you're observing internally.
Is it not? Is it still not an element? Is it still not an element of that whole turning our intention away from ourselves?
Well, if you look at the manipulation of dialect, what they've actually done is woven our verbalization skills into one where our dialect is weaving the very opposite
Yes, exactly.
to our intentions.
Yep. Indeed.
And if you become aware of that kind of methodology and trickery that they do, and I say they, if you look at most of the way TV programming from the television and your programming programs are constructed, and once you understand more the symbology, the ritualistic, the science behind media, the very pulsating bandwidths that it's presented at you, the time span between adverts and TV programming, you'll actually see that your programs are just long enough. Studies have been done for decades, just long enough to keep your attention, right? So they can run adverts, right? And then adverts play just long enough for you to stay seated to wait for the program to come back. If the adverts are too long, you forget about the program.
Yeah.
You see, all of these things are done in a particular way. What they teach is up, and or what they teach is up is down and down is up. But the moment you step outside of the world academic theatre and you start to unpack the nature of consciousness and you begin to understand all the symbology that they use and become symbol literate, you see there again, you see their nasty little fingerprints practically in everything.
This is oh my goodness, this is interesting, because when you look at all these short clips of TikTok or Instagram that you keep scrolling and you lose sense of time. You just continuously for an hour. If you're not aware of it, you end up scrolling for hours because you're being mesmerized by all these little short clips. The longer they will be, it will be what Carl mentioned. It's like, oh, I'm done with it. It's interesting. Now,
People
to understand that also
these are short attention spans. Sorry.
Yeah. No. But also to understand that this is also a tool that we can use it to reverse all that. Does it make sense?
Well, yeah, we can use their tech against them to run the other message. You've been listening to the House of Lords right here on YouTube and Spotify. If you enjoy what you're listening to, don't forget to share it with your friends, even those that you don't like that are of a particular faith-based ideology that you know will piss them off. We like to hear from them too.
That works. You see how that works? Using this very same methodology, using the same tools, right, to achieve the same goal, which is what? To communicate, to get through.
Yeah, because you know when we hear this, oh, we should stop using this, we should stop using this. Well, that's a small percentage of people that are aware of that.
Right.
If you stop using it, you're just gonna allow the rest of the masses being hooked on it.
Right.
So why not use it in a different way?
I mean, TV has, you know that TV media. There's this study where it's like it's been used in a very. It's been used at a fraction of its potential.
Is that not tech in general? And I put it to you like this, right?
Yeah.
Because of what I do and the nature of what I do, I'm dealing with people on a regular basis. And one of the methodologies I use, right, when people turn around and say, I don't know about that, I'll bring up the aforementioned stuff that you've heard me mocking, you know, these forever listening devices. You know, ask them the question, oh, what's this? There it is, there's your answer. You know, explore that a little bit, maybe ask another question. And then you start to educate, you can begin to use these tools to your advantage. You know, you're struggling with things while you're trying to progress somewhere. You can use these technologies. They can become tools. They're tools, you know, and if you see them as such, they're fabulous.
Right.
You know, I've often said that the television was one of the most amazing gifts that human beings have ever invented if it was used properly.
There you go.
If it was used properly to educate, inspire, stimulate, bring about the unification of the species.
Instead of to oppress.
Then, yeah, exactly. Instead of distract, fearmonger, manipulate, indoctrinate, separate, compartmentalize. You know, that's kind of what it does. And once you understand that all TV programming, which you've heard me mention before, is geared to the least among us, you're setting a very low bar, no matter how insightful the program's claiming to be.
Yeah.
So once you understand all that nonsense, it becomes a bit crazy. But like you mentioned, you can begin to use these technological apparatus as exactly such tools to help elevate, inform, and inspire. You know, if here's the thing, I heard one politician recently talking about one of these social platforms in a rather deplorable manner, saying that all he saw was asses and little girls and little boys shaking their stuff. And then he went on to follow. He said, I mean, I don't even know what a algorithm is. And I literally laughed out loud when I watched it. And the thing is, an algorithm learns by your viewing habits.
Yeah.
It will show you more of what you interact with. Now, all on my social apps, my feeds and what I get presented with are things of the nature in which you've heard us discussing this evening and on other podcasts.
Right.
Because that's what the algorithms have learned that me as an operator enjoys looking at.
Right.
Now, you look at other people's feeds and you know what they're getting. Tits, arses, fucking this, that and the other, crap and more crap and nothing but. That's an indication onto how they're operating.
Right.
So this is the point I've made before. At what point are we going to become accountable for our own inaction?
You see, this might be an important point for the listeners, especially if they have children, by sharing certain links to their children to change the algorithm of what their children are watching in these apps. Make sense?
Yeah. pay attention to your children's computers. Sit there with them and maybe play a game with them or something like that. And when you see the commercial come through, see what comes through, see what's being presented to your children. And then if you're happy with what's being presented to the children, i.e. in their feed they're getting presented with educational things or things that are of interest specifically to that child, then maybe you're all good. If it's guiding your child along the pathway that it's interested in, fine. But if it's not, and you see something that you're not comfortable with, make those changes. As Marius mentioned, you can make those changes.
Back it up, pull it up, sing again now. Can you play some more? Sorry, that's I was presented with that old reggae track there. It may have gone over the heads of many of our listeners, but some may have recognised the belter of a track that it is.
Yeah, I mean, I mean that's the situ in a nutshell, really. Yeah, that's the situation in a nutshell.
So what have we touched upon, right? Because we were at that 90-minute mark, and that's not a bad place to talk about. Just to refresh.
Yeah.
Just to refresh, you're listening to the House of Lords right here on Spotify. Alternatively, if you jump over onto YouTube and like our YouTube channel, watch this space for more the House of Lords on other social media platforms, because we are going to spread. And if you like what you're hearing, I have to stress again, if you like what you're hearing, one more time for those at the back, if you enjoy what you're listening to, share it with your friends, post it on your profile. You'll be doing myself, Iani and Marius and the rest of the world a world of favours.
One thing,
incredibly presumptuous of me, but we live in some kind of aspirational desire, don't we?
If it's not just you like it, but you also love it, do share with your friends and families.
Yeah, and if you love it, hit the subscribe button, please, to show it. Follow us so that we can send you our newsletter and you can get even more information that you might not even get on the podcast in the newsletter.
And for the haters at the back also, because you can't leave them out.
No, you can't.
Haters have got hate. Like Cat Williams said, haters got hate. That's a job. Hate, that's a job.
Oh, we love them.
We love them. They've got hate. Right? Even at the haters, look, we love you too.
We do.
You know what I mean? But we know that's your job. You got hate, right? And your hate highlights those that love. So, we love you for it.
Exactly.
Right? But if you even want to leave like a nasty comment saying these men is talking rubbish, fam, I don't know what they're talking about, or equally if you're an intellectual person and think I don't agree with any of these points, the academic world is right on and the world is progressing as naturally as it should. We want to hear from you too. We may respond in a rather negative way, or we might be quite pleasant. The guess is all up to you.
Exactly, it is.
When you said that, you just took me to that quote from Marcus Aurelius, where he says, "You can't expect bad people not to do bad things." And that can apply. You can't expect the haters not to hate you. It's just wonderful. But, and there's a big but here that comes up. The haters are actually the best in actually spreading the information. So thank you all for hating us.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Haters are rubbish at sharing information. Haters are rubbish, right? I bet you all the haters that listen to this, not one of them shares nothing, right? And I bet not one of these haters leave a hateful comment. Prove me wrong, haters.
Well, what I would say,
did you see what I do there? That was a psychological thing. Did you see what I was doing?
Yeah, I see.
We saw what you was doing, mate.
See what I was doing?
Yeah. You can answer, and you can answer them when they come in, then, mate. Yeah.
I shall match the energy with like for like.
Lovely. That's what it's about. So yeah, I mean, look. At the end of the day, look, I think I'm glad that we chose this topic because, to be frank, I mean, look, some of us have been privy to information. We've been privy to being able to see things, observe things, get some clarification, get proof the whole bit, follow it, and really understand, put and then put dots together as they've gone through. But at the end of the day, and maybe I'm wrong here, gents, I could be wrong in sensing this, but because I'm feeling like humanity is about to have an experience where it's like, oh, so where there'll be those of us that are like, yep, there you go, there it is, look, see, told you. And then there'll be others that'll be like, and then they'll be looking at their swords and honey,
Was that you defecating?
come here. Come here.
Can you hear what they're saying?
He's like, no, I'm on the toilet shitting myself because I looked out the window. It's like, is it going to be that situation? Is it going to be something like that? Is it going to be on TV like V? Remember? Hi.
Oh, yeah.
Which bit do you in? And the fact that they did two, they did the old one, and then somebody
And they
thought it was
brought
a
it back.
good idea to do a fresh version, and they brought it back. I was like, I can see you. I was like, I can see you. That's all I said.
What?
When I saw the second one, I was like, I can see you, don't you? I can see you. Good. All right, got it.
What was the one where they had the dots on their head? They had like bald heads with leopard print. Do you remember?
Oh, that was
where he was playing a policeman. He worked as a policeman.
yeah, that was called Bright.
No, that's the film with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was a TV series years ago with characters very similar to The Bright.
Oh, hold on. Cop.
Was he a policeman? Oh, God.
Oh, wait a minute. And it was a series.
Yeah, it was a series.
American series or British?
American.
Okay. Because I know.
But if we can't remember, maybe the listeners can.
No. Yeah. Wait a minute. It was like 60s, right? 60s.
No, it was
70s.
later than that.
70s.
90s.
Oh, 90s. Okay,
Sure.
well.
Yeah, sure, 90s. It was around the time of the V's and stuff. I think V was a bit earlier. The original one, the original one was a bit earlier. But there was this other series, where there was other aliens, but they were bald and they had kind of leopard print patterns with no ears.
Oh, that sounds familiar, man. That's so familiar. I can just almost see the.
And the men got pregnant. It was the men that carried the baby.
Oh,
Why do I remember that?
whoa.
Why do I remember the copper having to carry the baby? I'm
Wait,
sure that was the case.
What was the movie then? What is that movie? What's that movie?
I don't know, mate.
Just let it go and it will come to you.
No, it weren't Frozen.
That's a good one. But when we discuss about the haters, if I can bring to the topic what we're going to discuss to our next podcast, right? And the haters, they do have a voice. So in our next podcast, as we discussed when we had the chat yesterday, we're gonna actually bring to the topic the freedom of speech.
Ooh. Is it what? That's our next subject, freedom of speech.
That's our next subject.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, we can touch upon that one. I like that one. Let me just round up this one though with a few little bits, right? We ain't talked about Tic Tacs either.
Yes.
We haven't talked about USOs.
Nope. We need to.
We
need to.
Interdimensional beings.
We need to.
There's so much.
Because there's.
How about some weird draconian reptoid race that hijacked the positions of power a long time ago and manipulated things for their own maniacal means? I mean, we haven't talked about that.
That sounds like a movie that was written by an Italian fella in the 50s called Omicron.
Well, I would say that is something that the listeners can look forward to because they're going to be discussed in the next podcasts.
I hope they heard that. They're like, what did
Alien Nation. That's what it was called.
Alien Nation. There you go. And look at that. Alienation. Alienate. To alienate somebody. Alienation. The alienation of individuals,
1989.
said individuals. 1989, okay. Alienation, the alienation of, just say, the amount of
See, I heard something interesting recently about language being programmed, like a programming.
Yeah.
Like the actual the way the letters are presented within the alphabet, and then you bring in the numerology and everything else. It's all kind of coded. And I heard this one individual talk about the alien, right? And he said, when you look at the word, right, it's got lie in it. You know, you have to start asking yourself some question. Alii, you know.
Yeah.
A lie.
A lie.
A lie.
Yeah, a lie. Alien. You know, it's a peculiar thing. It really is. But like we've discussed, you know, there is that room where Marius and many more that are unsure for lack of physical, tangible evidence that they've seen that they could make an informed opinion on. There are those that, because of some internalized belief structure, absolutely deny the possibility. And there are others that do. This is the beautiful nature of our experience, this living in experience that we're all having.
Where do you see, I mean, where do you see us in 3 years with regards to this effect? Do you think that in 3 years' time there would already be now an open dialogue? Would there just be more of a global understanding of the presence of this or not, or what? What do you think?
My personal stance is looking at some of the national statistics from various countries around the world. A lot more people in the world are more accepting and more leaning towards extraterrestrial life or the existence thereof than mainstream media would have you believe.
Right. So, you know, eventually, I mean, obviously, we're going to have to mention it in one of the podcasts, but, you know, clearly at the end of your sentence was mainstream media would have you believe. Clearly, there are many questions that need to be asked about said mainstream media.
Well, I would share that. What do I see ourselves in 3 years from now?
What do you see?
Well, I see that in 3 years' time, we have inspired more people to open up to the possibilities that there are many things that we may not know about. Just because we don't know it, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Oh, I see. So, even though currently,
I like the twist. Yeah, I like the twist there from the beginning to the end. There, right?
Even though we don't, so here's what I can do. I can map something straight over that. Even though I know we can't.
What do you know?
Well, I know we can't see. Even though I know we can't see the 100,000 followers that we currently have, doesn't mean to say they don't exist.
I see where you went there, gentlemen. I see where you went there. I kind of stuck with the root question on where do I see the species in relation to being open or some form of dialect with interdimensional, extraterrestrial and extraterrestrial life.
Yeah, present to it, part of life. You know.
Do you know what?
Boy.
As much as I'm aware of what we think we begin to experience and we for our reality, on this particular subject, right, I personally am very open to a line of communication with individuals of a higher paradigm with the best intentions of love, light, and the raising of the vibrational frequency that the life here on Earth is experiencing. That I will invest into, but to leave an idea that the collective would be a particular understanding globally, I choose not to. For the simple reason I have no desire to reconstruct or enforce the paradigm of somebody else that isn't quite ready for it.
But doesn't the right honourable gentleman understand that those that are not ready will simply have to be left behind? Sorry.
Yeah, I totally hear that. I totally hear that, but it will not be of my doing.
Of course. Understood.
For I was
Comprehended.
ignorant and still am to matters of this universe. For I am nothing more, as we discussed.
I'm nothing much.
I am nothing more than a cosmological child,
A pleb.
eking its way through the
Indeed.
celestial universe.
Indeed.
Right? And by taking the position of a child, I am open to the possibilities of infinite imagination.
I do love my cosmological binky, I must say, but I'm kind of like digging the and
for the ones that are ready, right? For the ones that are ready to make the shift.
Mm-hmm.
In the media out there, it's a lot of people talking about mindset.
No shit.
Well, there is something that we at the Council for Human Development, where me, Marius, and Carl, we are trainers and partners of the non-profit, where we discuss about the mind space. Not a mindset where it's set in the beliefs and the programs that's been received, but in the mind space where the individuals can become the architects of their reality and of their world.
See that?
Be like water, my friend.
Be like water.
Mind space. See that mind space as opposed to mind set.
Because what is set?
Very rigid.
What is set? It's concrete, isn't it?
Concrete sets, jelly sets. Ice.
Yeah, you want to be able to move.
Yeah.
Forever evolving new information. The moment you can move and become malleable to this ever undulating experience of lines and squiggles, and if you comprehend that, you and I should be friends. High five. Because that's what it is. It's energy, isn't it? Dancing around in forms of agreement to interact with what it is you think you are.
That's right.
And also to bring to the equation the fact that even scientists now recognize that the mind is not set by the age of 26 like they used to say, but instead it keeps increasing its neuroplasticity depending where the mind is being placed, who you are interacting with. What discussions
do you mean place?
have?
I can't place it anywhere else than other in my head, innit?
Because that's where it goes. It goes there, right? It goes there, Fred.
That's where it stays, isn't it? In my head, innit? What do you mean? Where am I going to place it?
Yeah. What? Place it down? What? By next to me in the bus?
No, what I mean,
like my man's teeth in a jar or something.
What I meant and what I said after that was the
Place it
discussions
safe.
that you have and the people that you interact with. Are they helping you to grow as you helping them to grow? Or are they holding you down?
My beautiful learned friend, I am nearly mocking.
No. But at the same time,
why would they be holding you down, though?
points.
But why would they be holding you down? They wouldn't be holding you down, as opposed to you would have been positioning yourself in a limiting space. They wouldn't be holding you down.
That's where you're beginning to understand, or understand, should I say, Iani, all of those trappings, all of those restraints we place upon ourselves. The moment we begin to unlock the burden of our own shackles, and then we begin to explore both outer and inner spaces, free from perceived perceptions, limitations, doubts, denials, distractions, distortions, etc. Beginning to ignite both hemispheres for hemispheric synchronization, developing one's neuroplasticity by the ignition, stimulation, activation of synaptic genesis, neurogenesis of our mind, the very plasticity of our brain. And Marius brings forward to a beautiful point that throws an old saying right out the window, and it is, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, which is a lie, because our brains are electrified and can multiply and move and create and restructure themselves far beyond any recognition, and only the limitation.
That was great.
Right. The limitation of your cell phone set, of your phone network. Go ahead. Or the limitations of your Wi-Fi. Go ahead. Go ahead, Carl.
The limitations of my Wi-Fi. Go ahead. Yeah, my headphone died. I do apologise. I do. But yeah, what's I referring to? The limitations that we place upon ourselves. Basically, we are limitless. Yep. If you begin to embody the limitless potentials, like embodying some principles that we here at the Council of Human Development, or for Human Development, embody the 10 laws of the limitless. I won't go through all 10, but imagine yourself as a limitless potential of limitless love, limitless creativity, limitless compassion, limitless wisdom, limitless understanding, limitless patience. Now, we all need some of that, and a few others. But if you wanted to know more, feel free to check us out and mention, either the Mind Gym app, or alternatively, send us a little message regarding the Council for Human Development, and we will send you some more information if you are interested. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, you go check it out on Spotify, share it with your friends and family, even the people that you don't like, right? Because information spreads like a wildfire.
There you go. There you go. There you go. You've been told. You have been told, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, I mean, look, this was definitely an opening salvo when it comes to our conversation with regards to the entities that are outside ourselves, a deeper understanding into why we seek those that are outside ourselves, why we have this fascination, why we've come across them, why many have avoided them. It's a big thing, but we are definitely part of something bigger. We're definitely part of a family that's a lot greater than ourselves currently, and I think we are about to step up to the plate so we can stand side by side. Well, that's the happy romantic space notion. The realities, we shall see. We shall see.
And to bring to the point that Carl mentioned at the beginning about the fact when I asked, when we asked the question, how do you know? Carl mentioned something, right? I know myself. So even though we may think it's only external, it may also be internal.
So exactly. Well, then if it's internal, then check it out like this then. So if it's internal, then imagine one of those early psychedelics scenes from something like out of a Beatles video, or maybe like a
Sergeant Pepper,
or maybe something like that, or yes, exactly, Sergeant Pepper, perfect. And then you are literally, so there's you, and then you open the door on the front of your head, and instead of coming out of your front of your head and into the world, you look inside. And when you open it on the inside, it looks like deep space, and you've just happened to stepped into a portal. You're looking for a portal, and when you look in, you're in deep space. You're like it's just nothing but space. That's where you are. If you go into the mind, if you go in, you can go far, really far. You could leave this plane. If you go in, you could. I mean, this is the reason why I'm like saying, well, this is going to be our first conversation, because it's clear that there's quite a bit that many humans may not know. Many of those running around doing their thing may not know. And if we are entering into an age of awareness, let's just give it I'll be very frugal with things. If we're in the age of awareness, then maybe that type of awareness needs to be focused on for the good of humanity, because humanity has powers that it doesn't know how to use in certain respects, right? Within internal understandings of energy, vibration, voice, mind, soul. There's understanding that they just don't have. They've been lied to. Things have been hidden off. You know, these mantras that you can wobble yourself out of your system and stuff. You know, these are things that it might not be a bad thing for people to know. I mean, otherwise, you know, lest feel inferior, lest they feel even more inferior after they find out some truth. You know?
Well, limitless humility is all part of it, isn't it?
Right.
You know, the moment we begin to check our ego
Right.
through our humility, it balances itself out. And what is the cosmological order of things but balance?
Mm. Maybe our humility comes as we accept other things that are greater than ourselves, that are outside ourselves, and we accept wider possibilities, even though we may not understand it, at least to accept that they can actually be possibilities.
Well, would that humility not come about through the acceptance of our ignorance?
Well, there you go. Yeah, it would.
Acceptance that you can be more.
Mm.
I mean, there's many examples that we can use. You know, there are people that speak like 6 languages, 8 languages. I mean, why do they can and we can't? Is there something that we can't do, or is just because we haven't actually focused? We haven't, as Carl says, where your energy flows. How do you say it, Carl? Where your attention goes, energy flows.
There you go. You got it, mate. You got it.
Yeah. So it's the thing is, you know, can I be a mechanic? Well, I can be a doctor. I can be a gardener. Yeah. It's just, have I placed any intention? Have I put my energy in it?
Right. The answer to that is no, you have not, son.
Wow. One of the beautiful places.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
One of the beautiful places I found myself to be, you know, the years I was going through, you know, wanting to be this, wanting to be that, seeing yourself as this, seeing yourself as that. And then there comes a point where trust the intention that there's something far greater at play than just my own wants and desires.
There you go.
And the moment that I begin to give myself over to a cosmological mouthpiece of innovative expression, then as in an actor, Jim Carrey, once said, you know, he was doing a role. I think you've heard me mention it before. He was doing a role for a film, and then he had to play this character in this film, and then he had to do another film immediately after that and go into another character. And then once he'd finished that film, had to go back into Jim Carrey and ask himself, you know, well, who the fuck is Jim Carrey? If I can so easily be Tom, Dick and Harry, then is Jim Carrey not just a persona that we wear, that we learn to identify through? And in this case, that identification is how you are identifying with your own personal experience, and through that experience, either progressive identifications of oneself or limitations of oneself through the experiences that you're having. You know, some people take a rejection as a defamation to their character or a failing in themselves in some way, and then begin to identify through that perceived shortcoming of their character through the eyes of the third person.
Right. Who's not there?
Who's not there. So it's indicative to one to begin to know whom and what you are.
And
first and foremost.
Right, and that third person, interestingly enough, is in the form of a verbal seed that was planted and actually took hold within you.
Yeah, spot on.
You know, I can't remember where I heard it, but there was something that was mentioned about Shakespeare, right? The characters that Shakespeare created. And it was mentioned something like, well, those characters were different names. All of them had Shakespeare in them.
Ah, well, yes, in reference to, you know, the author himself. It's in this case, bear with me, I've just been shown something I'm trying to read while having another verbalized thought form. I'm now going to have to read that, and now you're going to want to know what I'm reading. Don't fuck with me, I love you. That's brilliant, that is, thank you. It is, thank you. I do apologise about that. It was rather an abstract picture where in some obscure part of it said, don't fuck with me, I love you. That's quite nice.
Right.
Where was I? Thought forms, theatrical thought forms. You know, like in this case, Iani, you know, you're writing a comic and you've done a couple already within this comic, these characters. Each one of those characters are a creation of Iani oneself. They're a facet of the projection of the persona that is known and recognizes and takes dominance as Iani. But Iani is only the construct that you have manifested for yourself in one instance that's got used to responding to the interactions of consciousness outside of yourself, referring to you as Iani. Yeah. So we learn that name response generally comes with, from a very young age, comes with some kind of goodie, you know, some kind of substance, some kind of food. You know, before we can even talk, we hear our name and we turn around and there's something there, isn't there? There's a hug, there's a caress, there may be some food, a breast, whatever inclination you may have. So we associate that kind of identity from the get-go with this name or with this person.
Right.
But in what Marius was referring to earlier on about, you know, one's limitless potential, unpacking the potential of whom and what you are. Well, that is so much more, as you were touching upon, Ian, so much more than the physicality, so much more than just the physical name. You know, some people want to wake up and they go to work, I'm going to be a mechanic. Nothing wrong with being a mechanic, like Marius said, but is that what you're here for? Is that what the universe, cosmological order of things sort of like, poof, poof, there you go, you were the glint in the father's eye, you were the lust and the passion in the mother's heart, now here you are, manifest. And what are you going to do with that? I'm going to go work and see if we're... Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, if that's what you want to do.
Right.
But when you've got the whole universe to explore, both inner and outer, I'm sure you can imagine more than Safeway.
Indeed. That's if you're aware that you have both inner and that outer are areas that you can explore.
Oh, disclaimer. There are other franchises available for fast food and groceries. You can check them out. No way are we endorsing or diminishing the quality of Safeway's products. Please continue.
Oh, excellent. Whew. How much did we just save then?
Yeah, well. Well, we are getting close to our 2 hours mark, so it would be
We're getting close. We passed it, bruv.
No, it's 119.
That's because you came in late.
Oh.
22.
It's 2:20 exactly, and 43 seconds, mate. 45. So
Okay.
yeah. But it's a marvelous conversation, which I hope we said something. I mean, although it was mostly Carl today, so it's been a wonderful show, right? We've been
Don't
here.
say that. It hasn't been mostly me.
You wait till you listen to it.
It was at the beginning. Let's put it that way. But there was
funny.
there's a lot that we could have we have learned from Carl today.
Indeed, exactly. That's what I was going to get to. That's what I was about to get to. But no, everybody got defensive. No, it wasn't just me. I was trying to get to that bit so I can compliment you and be like, but we have been marvelous students in the presence of our learned guest and our learned friend, our learned colleague. And it's been an honor to listen to his wisdom. There you go. Thank you. See that? See what happens when you allow somebody to finish what they're saying? Change
The
it.
honour is all mine. The honour is all mine, mate. Thank you very much. The honour is all mine. And that feeling and attribute is very much reciprocated to the rest of my learned friends. And don't forget, ladies and gents, if you're listening to this and you're enjoying it on Spotify or YouTube, share it with your friends, stick it on other profiles, even if you like it, even if you don't. Yeah, here's one that's controversial. Send it to a relative that you don't particularly like and is it set in their ways. Tell them that they'll absolutely love it. In this way, I'm giving you the permission to tell a little white lie. Tell them it's something that they really enjoy. About the 45-minute mark into it. Right, so they're already in.
There you go. There you go. See? Yeah. Start at the 45-minute mark. You get hooked for the first 2 minutes. You'll be like, oh, what did they say before?
No, what I meant was, tell them what they want to listen to is around 45 minutes, so they might have the patience to sit through the lot to get to the 45-minute mark to hear it. You see? And what they're actually waiting for may not be there, but they might find something else instead.
And if they find something interesting, they can listen to the rest of it.
Yeah, right here on Spotify and YouTube. Don't forget to share it with your friends. It's got to be done. The House of Lords. And if you're online and you're one of those that like to put the address in, this is absolutely fabulous. www.youtube.at. House of Lords. Yeah, we were the first ones to get that. Enjoy that.
Yeah. I love it. Just like my black liquid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love
right,
it.
are we rounding this up then, gentlemen? Or what?
We're rounding it up, gentlemen. We're rounding it up. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the House of Lords. Your learned guests, your hosts for the evening have been Marius, Carl, and myself, Ian. Until
P.S.
P.S. What?
P.S.
What?
P.S. Stay tuned. Hit the bell icon right, on and YouTube, so you get notified for the next up and coming episode of the House of Lords, available on Spotify and YouTube. Share it with your friends, right?
Oh, you know
the next
something?
episode is about freedom of speech.
You know something? Just before we go,
I absolutely love.
you know, it's going to be a great topic. But just before we quickly go, and I know it's extending a little bit, but I just wanted to make everybody aware of this. There's this amazing tour that's taking place, and you'll have seen the commercial. If you watch the video version of this, you'll see the commercial in the middle. But there's an incredible tour that we know that everybody knows somebody that is down, that's suffering from some sort of, that's under some pressure, that feels lost, doesn't feel like they have any worth, feels depressed. We all know somebody somewhere, or we hope, or we can, or we're one step away from that. So, right, we just want you to be aware of something. The Broken Crayon Tour is kicking off January the 2nd in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. And from there, this is a group of people that have come together from all walks of life, from the top finance firms in Alabama to, untold Grammy award winning producers, to the next Taylor Swift artist, to the most incredible pianist, and everything in between. But this show is to bring love and light to those that feel darkness. They go to schools, they do a theatre in the city, and it's 500 to 700 people theatre, and they bring a message, of hope. Broken crayons, because broken crayons still colour. They bring that message. So check it out, Broken Crayons. I think it's the brokencrayontour.com.
Broken crayons still colour.
Is that the way the tune goes? Or
I had no idea. I just love it anyway. I just love it, and I fully endorse what you do.
Yeah. Well, it's not what
Yanni, but I
not
endorse
what I'm
what you're
doing.
doing by bringing it up on our show. I endorse that. That's a very good plug. I appreciate that, because I'm behind the very thing. Absolutely brilliant. That's their slogan. Broken crayons still colour. And Tommy, if you're listening, broken toes still walk.
Yeah, mate. We got a break.
For you and yours.
Yeah. Okay, until next week, ladies and gentlemen. See you later.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Oh, wait, just had to, does anybody else want to pipe up before we go then?
I might do.
Well, we'll get it out of your system, Joyce. Gentlemen, get it out of your system. Come on. See? Get it out of your systems. I thought you were supposed to say goodbye or something because I said blah, blah, blah. And then Mary said, I'll see you later. See, you're right there.
You should get it out your chest.
Okay, good. I'm done.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Tear your chest. Nothing like to you and yours.
Nothing like.